What's up, everybody? It's your boy Marcus the Money Man, and today we're going to do the video that I recorded earlier and had a messed up spreadsheet. It's all about, are you charging enough? So I'm back again, and I have a spreadsheet that works so you can see, are you charging enough compared to the profit first method. Okay, so let's do it. Let's take a look. Okay, now if you go, you open up the sheet. If you don't know what the profit first method is, I screen grabbed this illustration here. So basically, what you have is real revenue ranges. Okay, so if you have a smaller business or a larger business, these are the suggested real revenue ranges, profit, owners pay taxes, and operating expenses that you are suggested to have a nice, quality, healthy business. All right. So we'll adjust as we go ahead. So in this instance, we're going to use a business that we're going to keep it in the projected 250 to 500 range. So we're going to go owner as a tech and one additional technician. Okay. So let's roll with that. Now in this section, you'll see all these numbers. They're all zeroed out. You don't have to do anything here. But what you want to do is you want to set the system up so that way the system can understand how much your average technician gets paid. Okay, so with benefits, commissions, bonuses, all those things that go into a commission pay, it's about $72,000. Okay, so the average number of calls per year between, so if it's two of you guys, you want to run at a minimum. So I had it at 130 calls, but more realistically, if you're running by yourself with an additional help, you want to have it somewhere around 150 to 180 calls. So with this, that's going to be 15 stops per month. So I did that wrong. Let's go ahead and do the inverse of that. So that's 2,160 calls on average. Okay, so that's about 180 per month. Okay, and then your average ticket per appointment, I would say, should be somewhere around 220. Okay, and how much do you make? So this is for you, the owner of the business. How much do you want to take home? So you can call it 89,000. And then how much revenue you project to make. So if you have a projected revenue number, that's one thing. If you don't, and you're new, you just don't know, don't put anything. But if you're running a business and say, you're making 340,000. Okay, so between that, again, it's between the 250, 500 range. Okay. All right. And by doing that, this will say, based on these numbers, let's see, number of staff that you have. So it's 2. So we'll call it 2 techs. Well, actually, we'll call it 1. So we won't consider you a tech, even though you are a tech. Okay. Or no, you are a tech, so you'll be in that number. Sorry about that. Okay. And you say your close rate is 60%. So based on these 2,160 calls you get, you close 60%. So 60% of people say yes, they go forward, you finish the repair, you get more than just your service call fee. Okay. You can up that to 65%, 70, whatever your rate is. We'll keep it here at 60. Okay. And then you want to add in your expenses. Okay. If you have rent, if you're a one-man shop, maybe you're not renting the whole thing. Maybe you just got something $400 a month that you can store some parts at, shared space, whatever. Software, maybe you're only spending for software and phones. You have a phone, he has a phone, you have some software. That can be about $450. At this point, you only need a virtual assistant that can help you with some things. And for about 180 calls a month, for that acquisition cost would be about $20 a call, so $3,600 you're going to spend on some kind of marketing, advertisement, branding, etc. Okay, and then and you can put in like your shirts, your flyers, your handouts, all that stuff. So you're spending some money during that to get that many calls, or you're going to go the warranty route, so your ticket's going to be lower, which is essentially marketing. Okay. All right, now the tech benefits. So what are you actually spending? So we put in here 72, so that's about 6,000 a month. Okay. So you get your 72 for the year. Gas for 2 cars running around should be about $950. Depending on where you live out here, it's a little bit more expensive. Insurance for general liability should roughly 120, 140 plus insurance for 2 vehicles, 153. So you're looking at 3, 450 for insurance, up to $500, depending on those rates. And then tools, office supplies. You need printer, copy paper, whatever you do in the miscellaneous things, supplies that you go through, kind of get you going. You can allocate another $250 for that. And then parts, I have it built in based on what you project. Parts should be somewhere around 8%. So we're just going to chug that number in there. Okay, for parts. Okay. Now what that does is the profit first method says, and let's see, 250. So we're going to adjust right here the percentages because we're in this bracket, this zone, if you will. So it says 10% for profit. So we'll put in 10% for profit. And then the techs make, or you make, so that's the owner's pay, 35%. The techs make, and then you have operating expenses. So that's going to be split right now. Okay, so the techs, so that's 40%. So your techs typically going to make about 30%, sometimes 20-ish%, and then your operating overhead expenses is going to be about 20 of your taxes. So when you sum that all up, that should be about 100%. Okay, so now you got your adjustments, and what this does as well, you can see based on your numbers, if you're running these many calls at this rate, you put in 340, but Profit First is saying, or just based on the number of calls on your average appointment ticket, saying you should make 475, but you're making 340. Okay, so this is the first check to make sure that you're making enough money and that you're not over projecting what you're doing. Okay, because that's a big deal. So if you're actually running 180 calls and you're only making this per year, so now you want to drop that down. Okay, so so let's use the calculator real quick to make it more realistic, or you're actually going to improve your ticket number, your ticket value. But in this instance, um, we're going to make 340,000 a year. Okay, and with that, your your calls, you're still going to run 260. So that means your average appointment, so when you walk in the door, you leave out the house, is $157. So you're going to plug that number in there. So $157. So now Profit First, or the revenue adjustment, will adjust, and then all of your adjustments here happen as well. Okay, so now based on that number, you should have 33,000 in profit. You should make 118,000. Your tech should make 67. Your overhead should be about 67, and your taxes would be about 50,000. Okay. Now, with that being said, you can see a couple things. So what it'll identify is, and it'll compare it to what your business is. So we put our expenses in here for our business, and it'll compare. So right now, based on your business, you're making a profit of 3.8%. You are taking home 89, which represents 26%. Your tax is 72, and your overhead is 33%, and then the rest is for taxes. Okay. So in a deeper dive up here, your revenue's kind of spot on, right? It is what it is. Your expenses are high. Okay. So your actual expenses is 186,000, where Profit First says based on your revenue, you should have 135,000. So you're about 50,000 over. So you need to shave about 50 grand. Okay. And you can see it right here. So your projection should have been 152,000, where you're at 102. So you need to reduce your expenses. You also need to pay yourself more based on this. So you should be at 118,000. Okay, and taxes are pretty spot on. So with this, you're good, meaning that you're not spending more than what you're making. But this gives you opportunity to increase, right? So you either need to reduce expenses. So let's take a look. Okay. Now look at what you got. All right. So you have, based on this, you can see the projection says that you only need one tech. Okay. You don't need a full tech yet at this price. Okay. And you need to find 50 grand to reduce. Okay. So this needs to come down by 50 grand. All right. You can, so these are your biggest expenses: your tech salary, your marketing, and your parts. Your parts can't go because you need to spend the money to fix the stuff. You can maybe do aftermarket to reduce a little bit, but you can't focus. Insurance, it is what it is. Gas is what it is. All this stuff, it is what it is. Okay? So it's not a whole lot of things that you can change in here. However, you got to make a decision. And the biggest thing is this is what you're doing, but you need to raise your ticket costs. Okay? You have a shortfall of $50,000. You have two 2,160 stops. So let's go ahead and do this. So 2,160, that's what you're going to get. Or let's do this, 50 grand is what you're short. 51,144. You do 2,160 calls. That's an average of $23.67. So we'll round it to 24 bucks. So this 157, you need to be at 180.67. So we'll call it 181. Okay. Now, by doing that, you now increase by 50,000. So this is 390,000. Okay. And now your numbers are going to become to be more in alignment with what you actually have going on. Okay. So in actuality, when you go back down there to how many techs you need, it says 1.1. So realistically, you and a part-timer. Okay. So you have a full-time tech, and you got to drop it down a little bit. And by doing so, you'll actually end up spending quite a bit less in marketing, branding, handouts, stuff like that, t-shirts, apparel, all of that stuff will be reduced. So you can find a little bit more savings in in this realm, probably not that low, not this day and age. So it'll be somewhere around here. And when you adjust those numbers, now your expense becomes good. You have some money to actually reinvest or pay yourself more. Okay, it's more in alignment. Um, Here you're at 50%, so you got a whole lot of profit left. So you definitely need to. It's right on that cusp. So if you can actually get more calls and do more work, then that'll be good because right now at this rate, you're going to be doing about 8 stops a day. And I think that's where a lot of um, technicians are right now, solo techs. To really make this type of money, you got to be consistent, 8 calls a day, um, over 2,000 stops, and selling pretty good. So you got to be at around 180 per stop. So whether you make the sale or not, you're walking out of the house with $181. Okay. Whereas if it was two of you guys, um, you still need to make the $181 each at each one of your, or not each one of your stops. Yeah, each one of your stops because your number of appointments have gone down, but it's now split up. Okay. So now one needs to make 99, one needs to make 99. Okay. Now with this, with two people in this module with $181, right? You actually make more profit with a part-time tech. Now, say you just don't want to, and you want to bring them on full-time, you can, but remember um, that marketing, it'll it'll definitely have to come up. Oh, I had the number wrong. So they'll put you somewhere around here at part-time, 193, and when you go full-time, um, you obviously are going to be paying more, but now um, you're still going to need the same amount of calls per day, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a 4-and-4 split. This can now become 4, or not 4, 6-2, 7-1. Okay, it can become 8-0, essentially. But obviously, if they're doing all the work 100%, then um, you know you run more risk because if they're out sick, you have to be able to do some in this type of model, or you have to make more calls for more technicians. So if somebody's out, then your business won't suffer as much. But this here exercise definitely lets you understand. So right now, this is 40% and this is 45% to show, okay, you can work a little bit more to make some more, but at the same time, is it worth it? So do you want to make 157 or 175? Okay. Do you want a full-time person or a part-time person? Do you want to up the hours? Maybe it's just 4 grand a month that they're making. Okay. Maybe it's and this is benefits, commissions, everything that's associated with that technician to be able to work. Okay. All the special little hidden things. So that doesn't necessarily mean that they're taking home 6,000 in salary. However, their salary, benefits, paying the state, all that stuff is going to equal out to about that. Okay. So this is the template. And what I'll be doing is I'll share the template. So if anybody wants to download it, it's going to be in the group. So all you have to do is click the link below in the description and you can join the group, get access to the template. I'm going to put it in the course. And anybody in the coaching class, this will also be in the main course, so you can have access to this template as well and watch the video. So again, thanks for watching. I'm Marcus the Money Man, the Appliance Boss, and I hope you're charging enough.